Unfortunately, we don't have a really a happy-go-lucky topic to switch gears to. You heard the voice of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and as I alluded to, they are now free agents. The wrestling family has been hit hard this week, and it started even before Howard Finkel's passing with just the absolute gutting layoffs and furloughs coming out of WWE this week. And look, I understand, WWE's position on it. We're living in incredibly uncertain times with this coronavirus pandemic and everything like that. It doesn't do them a whole lot of good to hear that, though. And my heart goes out to them, and you just could see from the reaction. WWE does this a lot. They're people sort of colloquially refer to it as their spring cleaning. But the difference this time around is there's nowhere right now for anyone to go work because of what's going on in the world. And so, that's heartbreaking. You have people with burgeoning families. I mean, you look at Maria Kanellis, who just had another kid and stuff like that. So my heart really goes out to them. You could tell that this one hit everybody a little harder too for those very reasons, because there is so much uncertainty going on right now. But we're going to go over the list. We're gonna play a little bit more audio from one gentleman in particular that really was pretty powerful stuff. We have a little bit more. We've a few different things that we're gonna play. But let's run through the list real quick. Drake Maverick, Rusev, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, EC3, Leo Rush, Eric Young, Heath Slater, Aiden English, Kurt Angle, Sarah Logan, Mike Chioda, Eric Rowan, Primo, Epico, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, No Way Jose, Deanna Perrazzo, and then the furloughs. And again, this is all subject to change and stuff like that. We're operating on the best information that we have right now. But the following have been furloughed, the backstage producers and agents and stuff like that. Billy Kidman, Mike Rotunda, Dave Finley, Pat Buck, Sean Devari, Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, Shane Helms, and Lance Storm. What was your just reaction when you started to see this list pour out? And it just, we've been a part of it in the radio industry, seeing these things happen.
Yeah, Jimbo, like you, I kind of put this into context of what you and I've been through in all the years we've been in the radio business. It just felt like a bloodbath. That's a term we've used in the radio industry before, as far as when major layoffs and furloughs has happened in the past, that the term bloodbath is always thrown out there amongst our peers. And so when you and I were first hearing about all these releases, I was like, oh my God, like that sucks. Like, so-and-so and so-and-so. And then as you keep refreshing either Twitter or the websites and stuff, and as the day and afternoon was progressing, you hear more and more names being released. I'm like, oh my God, this is their version of a bloodbath. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it's just sad to hear how many people WWE was letting go or put on furlough. So it was shocking, considering just how large that group was. Like, you and I have never seen that in our lifetime. And so I think right away, a lot of people were like, wow, this is the craziest example of it ever. Like I said, in our lifetime. And like, my heart just goes out to all those people and their family and friends. And I hope all of them bounce back ASAP. I mean, I'm sure we can dig into all this as we go along here in the conversation, but yeah, I'm just it was very sad for everyone.
Did anyone stand out to you?
Well, number one was Rusev and Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah,
just because I felt like, okay, Rusev was probably singles competitor, was like probably the biggest name here, or as far as the most over with the WWE universe. And then Gallows and Anderson, just because and I seen a lot of people throw this online and stuff, was they were just in the Boneyard match with AJ Styles and The Undertaker a couple weeks ago, or at WrestleMania. And so they had a big spot or big moments in that match.
He killed them. It's canon now.
And then But also, they just re-signed, I believe, last year. I mean, I know there's been a lot of rumors that they were unhappy, they wanted to leave, but yet they did re-sign, apparently 750,000 each. So maybe they felt like that's money they just could not walk away from. So even though they maybe were not satisfied creatively, that was like too big of a payday they couldn't pass up. So they just re-signed for, I think, was like at least a multi-year, 5-year type deal. So the fact that they just turn around and let them go, I don't know all the details, if it was some sort of a buyout or like the contracts that I'm used to personally is like in the radio world. I don't know how much similar or different they are in like the the wrestling, the sports entertainment world. So a lot of these people who just re-signed, Mike and Maria Kanellis and some of the other people, I don't know if they just resign, if they just get a payout or some sort of buyout from the company, all that stuff. And I know for some of them, I think at least they can't do anything for 90 days. So there's a lot of details here. And I'm since they are a public company and these are all public figures, I'm sure we all want that info. But at the end of the day, that's personal as far as their work situation and what it means for them. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of questions from all that like technical side of things, from the business side of it. But yeah, it just it's very just shocking. And here's the other thing, and please, I want to give this disclaimer out there. I feel kind of guilty to kind of judge or put a label on someone's worth to the company, but a majority of these people were people that they weren't not used on TV or kind of
Right.
like that mid card level. Like I said,
Not
I
even.
hate that. Yeah, it's so. I mean, Primo and Epico. I think a lot of people were shocked to hear that they were still with the company.
Yeah, no, and I think your heart's in the right place for that. Is that
Yeah.
we are saddened that anyone lost their job, and that goes beyond just wrestling. This pandemic has cost a lot of people their jobs, but we love wrestling. We love the performers themselves, and we hope that everybody that was affected by this lands on their feet. The unique nature of this, as I stated, though, is that there's not a place for anyone to go right now.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this so hard. But you're right. There are names on this list that maybe more typical, in any other year when we're talking about WWE spring cuts or something like that, we could maybe be a little bit more lighthearted about it. But it's a different scenario right now.
Yeah,
and like you, Rusev jumped off the page to me that they were letting him go. Because I look at Rusev, and we've talked about it at length on this show, as another one of those guys that's a missed opportunity to be world champion. He oozes charisma. I wasn't sure when Rusev first came on to the main roster that he could be a babyface. I knew he was a money heel. I'm sure Hulk Hogan would have been licking his chops to have a main event at WrestleMania with Rusev, but he proved to me that he not only could be a big-time money heel, he could be a big-time money babyface too. And he proved that to me on, WWE's, Raw and SmackDown and the like that and all their pay-per-views. But go do yourself a favor. Watch his appearances on Total Divas and tell me that guy is not a top-tier babyface. You can't. He oozes charisma. And Rusev is a guy that, they did not pull the trigger on. And that always, that's always going to be a what if for me. And he very well could make his way back to WWE someday. I wouldn't rule it out. Never say never. But I think that Rusev is somebody that is going to go, whatever promotion he goes to, he will be a world champion. And, I was talking to your brother about it, is that he'd be a perfect fit to go to Japan and be sort of, an import there. Could, a la sort of Big Van Vader, just this big monster gaijin wrestler going to Japan. He's like, a lot of these people are going to have a lot of options.
Well, I was just going to say, for all these people here, this is all speculation. Everyone's trying to come up with their own conclusions based on this whole thing. Also, it could be possible a lot of them are let go now, but they can easily maybe re-sign down the road or come back for a lesser deal. And in the radio side of things, and even like other businesses as well, like there's been times where a company or something will let someone go, but then they'll bring them back in the near future at a lesser price. So I'm not saying this whole list is going to come back here. I mean, there's a lot of people here they just were not using. So there was like, there's no point maybe to have them come back. But there's some names here that, yeah, maybe they're like, oh man, we paid too much for them. Well, like maybe 6 months from now, let's bring them back or something that's lesser deal. So that's yet to be seen. I mean, that's all speculation. We can, I mean, obviously as things progress, we'll discuss it then. But yeah, Rusev. Well, okay. Here's the other thing, real quick. I just wanted to say is, and like I'm trying my best not to be like so full on like hate WWE right now. It's just, as you pointed out, the timing of this all sucks. It just um and
Yeah.
you know, I spent the last like 24 hours trying to really read and listen to other people discuss this and trying to get as much info about it just to really educate myself on this topic. And well, I just want to say, like, from what I've been able to gather, like WWE has like $500 million of just cash, just like sitting there in the bank, and apparently they're on route to like make like $1 billion this year. Still, like they're still being profitable, even though without the live events and all that stuff. And apparently the amount of money they're saving with all these cuts is about 8 million total for the year. So it just sucks that theoretically they could easily still keep all these people under contract and pay them out and help them get these tough times. And it just sucks because theoretically, as well, is any other time of the year or under normal circumstances, they just pay people just to sit at home, just to keep them on the contract so they don't go to other companies. Yet in this situation, this crisis that we're living through right now, this pandemic, then they make these cuts at the worst time. And it's like, oh God, like, you know, on paper that just looks so bad, like bad move. And you look at like other sports, like Mark Cuban paying for the Dallas Mavericks employees and other sports where people are diving their own pockets to pay for like the staff members of arenas and stuff just to make sure they get through these tough times. So when a move like this happens, it's hard to
wrap your head around and have it not feel inhumane. And I totally understand that. I understand the outrage. I understand the anger. However, when Mark Cuban, who I have a great amount of respect and admiration for, and when the Golden State Warriors, who signed my checks and still are signing my checks in the wake of this thing, which I am eternally grateful for, they have an entire sports league and association, ownership, board of governors, all of this infrastructure backing them. There's a whole in this together sort of thing. Like, you know, being part of the NBA, you know, Mark Cuban is an owner of one team. There is no united federation of pro wrestling where, you know, Vince McMahon can, you know, pay his wrestlers, and then when things head back to business as usual, it's, you know, there's going to be the WWF guys versus the Mid-South guys kind of deal, or WWF guys versus AEW, you know, head-to-head kind of stuff. It's different. And I am not one to ever count anybody else's money, determine what they should or should not do with their finances. I will just leave people with this in terms of, you know, they want to lash out at WWE and specifically Vince McMahon, who I will always defend. Is that, look at a guy like Road Dogg, somebody who battled addiction continually through his career, and WWE could have easily cut ties with him forever, but they didn't. They paid for rehab after rehab. They gave him chance after chance to where he worked his way back into a backstage role, very high up creatively with the company. And there's lots of examples of that, of them not giving up on people. So there's examples, you know, of that throughout Vince's career and his tenure as running WWF, WWE, of giving people those second chances, of paying, you know, for them to get well and get better. And, you know, so it's hard for me to sit back and watch just the slings and arrows come out. And look, again, my heart breaks for all these wrestlers that lost their jobs. I guess I would just temper that with that I don't think that there is any pleasure being taken by WWE just trying to line their pockets right now. I think they're assessing the situation just like every other business. And, you know, I have friends that, you know, my heart breaks for personal friends of mine that accepted furloughs, and now as this thing's moved along, are unsure if their company will even be able to come back. And so there's a lot of moving parts to this, and there's a lot of things that we just don't understand the inner workings of. And I find it hard to believe that Vince McMahon or anybody at WWE would take any of these cuts lightly. So that's what I will say about that. And I think there's a certain amount of responsibility that they have to their shareholders and everything like that, because if they don't meet those expectations, then the whole company spirals out of control. There's a lot of fluid things.
Yeah.
So I am not going to come on here and lambaste WWE and specifically Vince McMahon, because I just don't believe that this is motivated by just some sort of evil greed. I won't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit when I am wrong, but knowing what I know, the quality of Vince McMahon, I just don't believe it. So, and I know he has a heart for the boys. So that's where I will leave that. But again, it's sad all the way around. And I hope a lot of these people come back. Kurt Angle was another one that really surprised me.
That's the thing. I was just looking, and Leo Rush, just because he had his run on Raw as Bobby Lashley's manager, and then there was the rumors of the backstage heat he got with everyone. He was gone for a bit, but he came back on NXT and won the NXT Cruiserweight title. So it looked like, okay, things are turning around, and he's becoming more of a fixture on the NXT brand and 205 Live. And it was like, okay, cool. He's kind of getting a second chance at his young age with WWE. And it's like, okay, cool. I can go with this. I think he could be a great face for that division. And then, bam, he's gone. So I'm like, oh, so that sucks. And Mike Chioda, I think that's another big one.
That was a huge one.
Yeah, we're talking about Howard Finkel earlier. Like, he's been with the company since 1989, and so that's another person as far as like what he's contributed to the company for all these decades, and as a ref, all the great moments that he's been a part of, best seat in the house. And so for him gone, that really sucks. But then again, like, I was trying to understand, okay, like here on a business standpoint, like, okay, he's been around 31 years. I'm sure he has a really high salary for the position he's in, just as far as with seniority goes.
It's my understanding he probably had a high salary. He was also working kind of only part-time as well.
You haven't seen him as much lately,
He was working less dates. He'd do like the pay-per-views and like the Raw after the pay-per-view and stuff like that, but wasn't working full-time. And
who knows? I think I was just gonna say real quick, maybe like we don't know, there's just speculation, but maybe he's like, I'll take a step back. That way you can keep more of the younger referee employees around.
Well, there's a lot of different stuff to consider here too, because while we're in this, travel restrictions, they're only going to be shooting out of the Performance Center for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. So maybe that played a big factor in this, travel restrictions, travel cost. We've talked about many, many times, and which is why I think in any other time, this would be a net positive for most of these performers, because they would be able to go out, get lucrative deals, and actually be able to stoke their creative fires and actually be on TV. You said when we started talking about this, a lot of these people weren't even being featured on TV much, or if at all. Mm-hmm. And so under normal circumstances, this would be, almost a good thing for them, so they could get back in the limelight and do what they love to do. But it shows that WWE really was hoarding a lot of talent. And so I wish that we had a clear end date in mind for this, and when people could even get back to wrestling again. We just don't know right now, and that's the thing that makes this so sad. I want to play some sound from Drake Maverick because he had a really pretty heartbreaking and touching farewell that he was giving, and I just want to play that for everyone right now.
So I just got off the phone with WWE Talent Relations' Mark Carano, that has told me that as of today, I have been released from my WWE contract. Due to the current climate with what's going on in the world, and I'm like everybody else, where I probably didn't take this as seriously as it is at the beginning, but it's affecting people's lives, it's affecting people's jobs, it's affecting the way people make a living. I'm very fortunate that WWE is still allowing me to compete in the NXT Interim Cruiserweight title tournament. But it's very likely that those will be the last matches I ever have. There's a lot of people I'm not going to get a chance to say goodbye to that I really loved and I really cared about. That made me a better person. And again, I'm very fortunate that I still get that. Other people won't get that. But if these are the last three matches I have, I just want everybody watching at home to know that you'll have my all. You'll have everything. It's not about a title anymore. It's about my life. It's about feeding my family, paying my bills. So if I don't make an impression, if I don't win, that's it for me. So I just want everybody to know that you're all going to get everything I have.
That was Drake Maverick reacting to his release and being grateful that he can still compete in the Cruiserweight title tournament, but really emotional stuff from him.
Yeah, it's God, you hear that? It just I think that really sums up everyone's emotions and feelings right now, and that's I hate to kind of bring back to radio, but that's just kind of the world that you and I came out of and currently are in, and that's what we can relate to. But yeah, in radio, a lot of times when people are let go, they don't have a chance to say goodbye. Literally, you're told you're done, and they escort you out right away. So I can totally understand how he says he wishes he can say goodbye to a lot of people that mean a lot to him. So that's gut wrenching as well. Just hearing that part, and it's like, oh, like I can totally understand where he's coming from with that, that his feeling right there. Yeah, I'm really surprised he's still going to compete in that NXT Cruiserweight tournament. I don't know if it was his decision or WWE's decision, or they offered it to him. I mean, part of me is like, if I would, he's a better man. Like, I think part of me, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, I'm not going to compete for you and, fill out, content for you while you're not, want me around anymore. So I don't know. I'm really
Well, they're going to
curious.
pay him.
Okay.
I mean, it's a gig.
Yeah.
He might make more per match then than he would, on his existing contract. I don't know the particulars. But I think the fact that they still want him to, means that none of this is personal or how they really want it,
Yeah.
But I mean, I appreciate Drake Maverick being so real and so vulnerable like that for everyone. None of us are entitled to anyone's reaction to this. None of us are entitled to, after somebody gets fired, to see how they react just because, they're a public figure.
Yeah, no, it's this is all a lot to process. I mean, just us, like, we're coming in from a fan perspective. These are people that we're fans of and want to support them any way we can. And it sucks. Even though we don't know them personally, we still sympathize with them and what they're going through, just because we can relate either what we're going through or what our family and friends are going through. So it seems like it's like it's spreading as far as how this pandemic is either affecting people in different companies. So it's just that, like, okay, now this pandemic is now affecting WWE's product. We just thought it was just affecting the live arena, no fans situation. Now it's actually affecting them from a business standpoint and the talent that's on the roster. So you can see just the domino effect that's being created here. And so, yeah, I don't know what else to really say or feel other than, yeah, I'm sorry. And I feel bad for all of them. And, we can all speculate where can they go from here once things turn around. I mean,
God willing, I mean, if we were up and running, I'd be, on the horn with various people being like, yo, we should get them at a show. We should get them at a show.
Yeah.
And we just can't do that right now. And they can't do that. And that's I don't know how many other, Roddy Piper was famously quoted one time. He's like, what else am I going to do? In terms of like trying to retire from wrestling. Not everybody has something else that they can do. Ron Simmons went to work for the Coca-Cola company and stuff because they offered health insurance for a time before he got brought into WWF. But not everybody has that in them. And there is something so unique about this industry. So my heart goes out to all of them. I hope they all land on their feet. And there's another one that really stood out to me because we are big fans of his. He's somebody that I do think has untapped potential. But we are going to jump in the Wayback Machine, the time machine. Before In The Kliq, there was
The Other Guys, WrestleMania edition.
It's 107.7 The Bone, Baby Huey, and I think we're going to run with this. Bimbo Jimbo, you got the name from Stardust earlier today. Not James no more, it's Bimbo Jimbo. Broadcasting live.
Forced rebranding.
Broadcasting live backstage at Radio Row for WrestleMania 31. And look at this, James. We have the great Heath Slater. How's it going?
It's going well, man. It's going really good.
Welcome to the Bay Area.
Bimbo Jimbo?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so let's...
Bimbo Jimbo and Baby Huey.
Yes.
I can see Baby Huey.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't see Bimbo Jimbo, neither do I yet.
I can get to see it,
Oh
maybe.
my God. I've been called a Jimbo, but today I can honestly say this is the first day of my life where I've been referred to a bimbo, not once, but now on multiple occasions. So.
Bimbo Jimbo.
I don't know.
It's sticking there, man. You might
Unfortunately,
as well run with it,
yeah,
right?
I know. I don't really have much of a say in these matters anyway.
Baby Huey and Bimbo Jimbo. I listen to that.
Yes.
All right, then I'll keep it.
That was, of course, Heath Slater joining us from Radio Row before WrestleMania 31 in the Bay Area. How long has it been since you've heard that, Baby Huey?
I think 5 years, in all honesty. I mean, you and I have listened back to the Stardust.
We even sound younger.
Oh
my God, I can hear the age in our voice.
God, it's amazing. 5 years, how much different we could sound. For me personally, just like my confidence on the microphone. You know what I mean? Because I think that was like one of the first big events. I mean, obviously, that was the first WrestleMania you and I worked together.
Yeah.
But that was also, personally, that was like me kind of venturing out on my own outside the station to do stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've told you this before, but I'll tell. So that Radio Row was a euphoric moment certainly in my career, and I called my best friend Jeff. When we got back to our motel room, our crappy Easy 8 or whatever it's called, the Sleazy 8 in San Jose. And I was emotional because it was the first thing that I'd really, really done in wrestling. And I was on such a high. It was just, to this day, one of the greatest moments of my career was that Radio Row with you. And so
Absolutely.
Heath Slater is the first person that we spoke to after Stardust, Cody Rhodes dubbed me Bimbo Jimbo. So the first person that I was introduced to as Bimbo Jimbo, thanks to you, was Heath Slater, and he really he took to it. And
oh my God, like just hearing that back now, just the layers that we could break down real quick, like foreshadowing everything that we've done since then. Like he said, I would listen to that. I mean, and here we are within the Kliq now.
It might stick. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm like, oh my God. And then, referencing Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes, giving you the name, and then, him trying to understand. Like, okay, I can see that, and you even said, I don't know if it will work. Like you were.
Yeah, I wasn't fully sold yet, and there's actually I have some more audio to play that illustrates that.
It is over right now.
By the way, Heath, I like the haircut.
Thank you.
It's definitely a change from what we've seen over the years.
Yeah.
I got a lot of crap. I got cleaned up the other day, and we had Dolph Ziggler in the studio yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said I looked like Macklemore, and I was like, what? I was like, come on, man. But
I'm gonna start calling you Baby Macklemore then.
Hey, come on now. But
Baby Mac.
I like it.
Baby Mac.
Don't give him any ideas. But
there we go.
I mean, for me, this is my first WrestleMania experience in all aspects.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, I went a little long, but but basically a couple things from that. One, Heath Slater's such a cool guy off the air too. He just kept going, Bimbo Jimbo and Baby Mac. Like, he was so taken with that to the point where I can hear his voice, randomly at times thinking about that. Another thing in that little clip, you can hear Paul Heyman ranting and raving in the background as he was making his rounds at Radio Row. But Heath Slater was taken with the Bimbo Jimbo and Baby Mac. And one more clip from this archival footage.
Thank you so much for making time. Now I know if I ever see you, it could be 10 years from now, I got to do a truffle shuffle.
That might be worth being called Bimbo Jimbo for.
Oh, great.
Bimbo Jimbo.
That might be worth.
Baby Mac.
Baby Mac and Bimbo Jimbo. I like it. You're on to something, Heath. I like it.
Wait, so I forgot. So what, in 10 years from that interview, I got to do the truffle shuffle?
We kept we were imploring you to do a truffle shuffle because you brought it up. You brought it up during the course of the interview. We need to re-release some of these interviews. I'm going to do a best of at some point next time WrestleMania season rolls around, and we'll re-release sort of the best moments from that. But when I saw Heath Slater's name on the list, that interview came to mind, and it made me I'm sad for Heath, but that interview really made me smile, and he is a genuine, really, really good guy.
I have 5 more years left since that interview he can hold me to the truffle shuffle thing. But he was such like a fun guy to talk to, and you could tell like genuinely he's genuinely like a very just upbeat, positive person. And sometimes obviously he had his moments where he shined. Obviously him and Rhino win the SmackDown titles, stuff with the Nexus. He has moments where he did stuff on TV, but it sounds like there was a lot of other stuff they could have done with him from his personality alone. So I mean that's kind of a bummer we don't get to see that. But I one thing I'm looking forward to, if there's an opportunity where maybe he goes to the indie scene and he comes to the Bay Area to perform, I am looking forward to the day you and I can reunite with him in person and maybe break it all down and like maybe kind of rehash a part 2 of that conversation.
A part 2 of the conversation is you doing a truffle shuffle for Heath Slater. Like that's part 2 of the conversation, baby Huey.
Oh my God, I'm crying here. Oh my God, I need to hear that. That was so funny.
Yeah, I mean it was like I said, that was one of the things that chiefly came to mind, and you can tell, a lot of times the truth just has a certain ring to it. A person's energy and their kindness has a way about them, and Heath had that, man. Like he's just such a really, really kind, genuine person, and his was one that he's another guy that every time we talked about it when he was getting made to be the referee by Shane McMahon. We were cheerleading for him to get a push out of that. That would have been great, and I just think somebody put it on there very beautifully that Jinder Mahal got let go. He came back and he became a world champion. Drew McIntyre left, came back, and he's now WWE champion. Maybe Heath Slater and 3-man band can make it 3 for 3. And I just think what a great story that would be. I have one more thing that I want to play from Heath Slater. It doesn't have us, but this is something that it was really powerful. He was talking to Drew McIntyre and congratulating him on his championship win. So here we go.
The only thing I have to say is, brother, I love you, and I am so happy for you. But, all of your family and your friends are happy. The WWE Universe is happy, but your mom's very happy, man. Like, I can feel that. Like, I can feel it, Like, it's starting to come in my eyes. But like, I know she's looking down and she's happy and proud of you, man. And just remember that.
I love you, brother.
I love you, baby. 3 on B, baby.
Thank you.
Wow.
How incredible is that? Just like some real genuine emotion.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now, God, Jimbo, the emotion roll because you're putting me through tonight. That's very cool to hear. That's it just shows just the Good Brothers, that they all unite and stuff. And I'm sure they all, when they were 3-man band, I'm sure they all rode together. I would love to kind of hear maybe some fun stories. So I would love to talk to Heath Slater again, and
absolutely
maybe he can open up out like some of the car rides and what they've done together, and that's very cool to hear. But I was just I'm just thinking more back to the clips you were playing of us and how you were hesitant to become Bimbo Jimbo, and now look where we're at. Where
I know
it's your social media handles you use.
It's who I am.
Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, All Pro Wrestling, like all the stuff you use it for.
I know.
So that the Stardust or Cody Rhodes giving to you, then Heath Slater kind of confirming it and telling you to kind of embrace it.
It was staggering going back and listening to that Heath Slater stuff and being like, wow, I really wasn't sold on it yet. And I don't know how much I was hamming it up for the show or whatever that I wasn't sold on it, but I knew it was like still like trying on a new pair of jeans. I hadn't broken it in yet, and now it's my favorite pair of jeans, and it's just become part of my persona. And we tell the Cody story to death about it, but I didn't know until I went back to re-listen to that Heath interview that he was the one that came right afterward, and that's sort of what solidified my first ever on-air name that wasn't my given name. And, it was a lot of laughs listening to that. And again, just I can't think of any better place to end this show than with that just emotional tribute that he and Drew had. I would love to speculate about where some of these people might go, but in light of, the passing of Howard Finkel and the just the uncertainty surrounding all these people's jobs, it just doesn't feel right to do that tonight. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll do that on a future episode of In the Kliq, but tonight I think we should just wish them all well. Once again, our condolences to the Finkel family and all of his loved ones. And just be well, everyone. I know this was a heavy episode, but I think it was an important one that we do. And so I think that is where we're going to leave it tonight. Godspeed, everyone. For Baby Huey, I'm Bimbo Jimbo. That's right, I am. Never forget it. And remember, if you're not in the Kliq, see ya. And I wouldn't want to be ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest and new Intercontinental Champion, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The winner of this bout and new World Wrestling Federation Champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The winners of this bout and new World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Christian and Edge. The winner of this bout and the new World Wrestling Federation Women's Champion, Trish Stratus. The winner of this contest and